Hello everyone. Happy Monday. We are going to be digging right in and making some amazing recycled books with Kane. And so we're going to kind of get started here once she joins us. But I just wanted to give you a little heads up that we are going to be needing a few recycled materials. If you have something like cardboard, even just paper, scissors, and glue should be plenty. But we're going to be adding a few things to this to make it a little bit more of a kind of put together collage book. So we'll get Amber here in just a second in to join us. Those of you that don't know, I am Sarah Krajewski, art educator and your weekly Instagram live host to make art with me. So we're always trying to encourage art teachers, art educators to be creative. And this is hopefully a time where you can set aside 30 minutes or so to make some art with us and let your creative juices run wild. So we're gonna get Amber Kane in here and as soon as we can. Get your paper ready, friends. Get your pens. Get your rulers. I don't know. I don't remember what we need. She's going to tell me. Hi, Amber.
Hey. Hi.
How you doing, friend?
I'm doing fabulous. How about you?
Also fabulous. Well, partially fabulous. In Wisconsin, we just had this crazy storm. So there's like trees. Nobody's hurt, but there's like trees down all around us. So I'm just like, yes, everything's fine. But it was like crazy.
But you're on summer break, so you're fine.
Yes, very much fine. Yes, just kind of watching from the windows like, whoa, Steph's crazy. But anyways, so can you give us just a quick recap of who you are before we start making some artwork?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Amber Kane. I am the director of K-12 curriculum, which is a fancy way to say flex, which is probably what more of you are familiar with. I also teach AP studio art and art history courses online for just, like for fun, because teaching is fun.
Yes.
And then I illustrate and publish children's books with my brother, who is a phys ed teacher. And tonight I get to make art with all of you, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But I'm also imagining that everyone is like sitting beside a pool, just really, I hope everyone is on summer break right now. It's my real desire for all of you, and that you're just in a beautiful place to make books.
I hope so too. There's a lot of teachers that work like all the way through June. It's wild. So fingers crossed, if you're in school or if you're not, that you're doing okay and that you can be here to make some art with us. So I actually have an example of what we're gonna make, because you sent me this beautiful, like, look at this little pie slice, and it like opens up into this big, amazing circle book. So we can make them of any size essentially, but I would love for you to tell us kind of really quick, what do we need for our make art moment today?
Yes. So, and this is a slightly different size one with like colorful pages in. But the fun part is you can do this with almost anything. So basic tools, you need some, get your favorite pair of scissors, because we are going to be doing some cutting. Pencil so that you can trace circles. A circle to trace, unless there are some people in the room that are like, I don't even need a template. So that's my challenge. It was so confident in their circle tracing.
Yep.
And then paper, it can be anything you want. So I grabbed a bunch of, I don't know, we all have a random stash of paper, let's be honest.
Yes.
So I grabbed some of that. This other example that I showed you, this was actually old painting that I cut apart. So feel free to go crazy. And then something a little bit sturdier for your cover. I have, a wonderful box, but look at those colors.
It's pretty great.
And a glue stick. Glue is going to be your friend. And then we're ready to roll.
Okay, I'm like, but yes, I have everything.
I failed the assignment.
Like, I think I get enough. No, I did fine. Okay, so we're just going to kind of like pop down to be a little bit more top down. Amber's going to show us all the components that we need to make. If any of y'all have a question about how to do it, or if you miss a step, just drop it into the chat and I'll try to do my best to keep an eye on that as well. But don't forget, after our Instagram live today, we always save these Make Art With Me discussions and creative times to our IGTV tab. And you can always go back and rewatch old ones or watch some of the interviews that we've had in the past with some amazing guests. So Amber, take it away.
Okay, so I think I'm in the frame. Yell at me if I go rogue and go outside of my camera space.
It looks great.
So just a couple like disclaimers so you can think about this as you go through is I'm going to do like 10 circles, but you could do, you know, one circle if you really wanted to, or you could go wild and do like 20 circles. So the amount of circles, which are essentially the number of pages you have in your book, are totally up to you.
Okay.
And so if you are also someone that you're like, I'm really committed to this and I want a lot of pages, but you can't get through it all tonight, you can follow all of the steps with me and then just don't put the back cover on until you're finished, because you're going to see that this is like super repetitive process. So great to kind of chill out once you get in a roll, but it's also I think really fun to do with students.
Yeah.
So you're going to grab your paper and we are all going to make some circles. So I'm going to pick the pages I want, take my beautiful IKEA bowl.
Yes.
Lucky for all of us, my husband is coming home from work right now, so you're going to hear from my dogs. Yay. But we're going to keep on rolling with it.
Oh, that's so fun.
So basically what you're going to do is start to trace however many circles you want for your pages. So like I said, I think I'm going to go for like 10, but like there is no right answer.
There's 10 in this one I just counted. So like this kind of size, which is probably similar to what I'm doing, like a mason jar opening size, is there's 10 here. And it's like a pretty ample, it's a pretty hefty book.
Yeah, like 10 is a 10. I also counted, it must be my number, like without even trying, because this one also had 10, and this was dictated by how many random paintings I found.
Nice.
So 10 must be my jam without even knowing it.
I do also love the idea of using like recycled artwork, or, you know, papers that were maybe from sketchbooks or something, because like I'm using an old magazine that I have. I always love getting fashion magazines for when I fly. And I just love like the bright colors and the glossy pages, and it's really nice to have just stuff to use. And so I think that's going to be like a good base to have that the kids can use in their classroom too.
Yeah, and it's kind of a fun way to play with different compositions of like really the one I showed. We're just like a lot of little studies in watercolor, but I didn't love them. And then once I started to make them into circles, I was like, oh, these are so much more interesting in a circular composition. So if you're looking at works of art or looking at magazines, that can also be fun for yourself or fun with your students.
Yeah.
To think about what are they trying to frame in their selection.
Completely. Is there a like kind of paper that tends to work better when you're creating the circles for the book?
Yeah, so if I was doing this with younger students, I would definitely stick with like really lightweight paper, like photocopy paper, just because it makes the folding a little bit easier.
Sure.
However, you can go like this one is watercolor paper. So this is definitely has a lot more structure to it, and it just means you have to be more committed to your folds, like really, really pushing down to get the folds tight. So really thinking about how much you love folding things or not, and and the ability of your students. But you can definitely, you can go pretty heavy as long as you are willing to push really hard for your nice creases.
Got it.
Or struggle.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I feel like this is the kind of task that's just like perfectly repetitive. I mean, I've spoken before about like couch tasks or couch crafts, so that there's things that like if you're feeling like you need just a little bit of creativity, you're feeling like you're kind of lost, or you just want, you know, kind of just want to express yourself but don't really know what to do. It's fun to have something that you can just go to that's already going to be, you know, kind of up your alley. And like the little circles, like say they're already cut out, or you just have a stack of things that you want to cut. Like cutting is so therapeutic.
Yes, I had just made a bunch of bookmarks and sent them to my brother to print, and I was so excited to cut them out. And he was trying to be like a helpful, supportive brother, and he cut all of them out. He was like, "Well, I have a paper cutter," and I was so sad.
Oh no! You're like, that's great, but also, oh no.
He's like, "Wait, you were individually going to cut them out? Like, you better believe I was going to do that." That was like That's that like mindless, but I'm sort of being productive.
Yes. I will
So,
admit though, like I like, sorry, I'm getting on a cutting tangent now. I
no, go
do
ahead.
like cutting, but I feel like when I'm at school cutting, I'm like, let's go. Like it's like just such a mess. Cause I'm like, I just don't
Yeah,
have time for this. So it's
that's
a
true.
situation.
So there's school cutting and then there's couch cutting.
Yes.
And we're trying to be in the couch cutting
Yes.
zone today. So once you feel like you have as many circles as you want, or if you just want to switch tasks, now you need to take your scissors and cut out all of the circles that you just drew so that you have a lovely pile of circles.
Okay, perfect. I also like, I obviously haven't made the book yet, but I feel like magazine paper is kind of also a very good, like, kind of paper to use because it's like, it's somehow sort of feels like sturdy because it's like so glossy, but it's really thin and would be easy to fold. Like, I don't know about y'all that are listening, but like sometimes when I'll have, especially my younger ones, like kindergarten, first grade, do folding stuff, they're like, can you help me fold? This fold is so hard to do, you know? So it's nice when it's really thin because then it's just like mega easy to fold.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't tried it with magazine paper, so I'm excited to see how yours turns out.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun too because like creepy bartender, like that's great. Like, right? Little cat in bag. It's just interesting.
Yeah, yeah. You made some solid selections. I like it. I was trying to just go through like my box that is supposed to be my box of random scrap paper. And I can't close the lid on it anymore because I just keep adding to it. And like, you can't ever throw things out. Like these cutoffs might be good for something in 10 years. So, so this is part of my challenge to use enough of the paper from my box so that I can close the lid.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like I'm in a group of people that actually understands that pain. Like certain groups of people, they would be like, why don't you just throw everything out that's in the box? But art teachers, I feel like I'm in good company that a lot of you probably have at the very least one box filled with random pieces of paper that you are going to do something magical with sometime.
1,000%. Probably like within view, like 4 boxes of scraps. So it's yes.
I feel like you probably have a ton with like your painted paper and your collage.
Yeah. But it's fun for stuff like this. And of course, today I'm using magazines. So, you know, why not?
Hey.
Okay, I have one more circle to go. How far are you, Amber?
Oh, it's like a race. I like this. I have 4 circles cut out.
See, I got I turned into like the school cutting a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
I have to speed up.
I was like, I gotta go. I gotta do this.
You forgot to tell me that we were having a race.
Well, you know, I think I was having a race and you weren't aware. So there's that. Yeah.
It feels unfair. I would have definitely like really up to my speed.
You probably would have won.
So I don't know. I'm feeling like an elementary art teacher could probably school most of us in fast cutting because you have to help students way more.
Oh man, I know. I like
you're like giving instructions and cutting out things for 20 different kids at the same time. So I'm not actually confident in my ability to beat you.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm also just really loving these like little circle like compositions because they all are just really interesting. I like it. And like I was chatting with Janet last week about visual journaling, and we did a project based on visual journaling. I feel like this would be a really cool basis for something like that too, because it's always nice to start with something and to not have to start with a blank page. So like if your circle book has things on it, well already I have some negative space, I have some interest, I have things to look at, and that makes it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I was also thinking about it would be fun, but I couldn't find any of them. To do this with maps and like do circles around like places that you've been or places that you want to go.
Yes.
As a fun way to focus in what part of the page that you're cutting out. All right, I'm on my last circle.
Perfect. Okay.
So
Amber has her handmade notebooks during all the meetings. Yes, I love it. I'm just like, I'm like looking at all of the comments here.
That is true. I have a lot of notebooks. This is like one of my favorite things. All right, so once you have your pile of circles, just a couple of tips so you can think this through before you fold and regret your choices. Don't regret your choices. You shouldn't take this message. So you are, the part should be facing up that you actually want to be the thing that like springs open in the book.
Okay.
So you're going to be like folding in the beautiful side.
Got it.
So first step, like a professional book person would use a bone folder. Even though I make books all the time, I don't even own a bone folder because I really like to make things accessible and you just don't need one. So you're gonna fold it in half. You can use your finger or whatever. I like to take a pencil and then just really push down that nice crease so that you have a whole bunch of half circles. So you're gonna do that with all of your circles, and then we'll do the next fold.
Yeah, even just like a pencil or a ruler or a fingernail, like you don't need, I mean, I like using, this is like my bone folder from printmaking in college that I just like happened to not lose. So I'm like,
yes, I lost mine, so
gonna be okay.
However many years later, I have not gotten myself a new one.
You can just see how messy I cut as I'm folding in half because it's like this is literally supposed to be touching the sides and they're definitely not. So, sorry.
Yeah, you can judge yourself a little bit on your circle cutting ability when you fold them in half, but yeah, I'm always like, oh wow, that could have been.
Right?
That could have been better.
Somebody else dropped into the chat a suggestion, probably for like good school cutting, like quick cutting, is if you're doing something that's the same shape, just staple them all together and then cut, and that way it's not going to slide around as much. So that's a nifty little tip. Staple a stack.
Look at that.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, I got my little lemon slices in half here.
Okay, I have one more to go. I need to. Sarah is the early finisher in the class.
I am. I'm like, what can I do? Do you need help with something? Should I wash things? What do you want?
Yes. All right. So now we have a little bit more folding to do. I like to have the top part facing away from me, so it's like a little mouth talking to me. And you, like, if you are a really precise person, which I'm not, you could use a ruler, but I have faith in all of you that you don't even need a ruler to figure out the middle of this.
Yes.
Basically, you're taking one side and you're pulling it up till it hits the top, and then crease that down. And then I have to flip it over for some reason. It's the only way my brain works. And then you do it on the other side.
Okay, first of all, to answer a question we got, how many pages? We're doing 10 circles, but you could do it with way more than that, or certainly a few less. It'll just change the size of your book, but 10 is a good number to start with. And then did you say you're taking this and just making it so it's like the halfway point? So we're basically doing here's this little friend, and then bringing it so it would be like a 90-degree thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then you bring the other side up.
Got it. So they look like little tiny arrows?
Yes.
Okay. Like this, Amber?
Perfect.
Okay.
You have succeeded.
I'll be the not only the early finisher kid, but the kid that comes up to you every time and is like, is this right? Is this right? Did I do it?
Excuse me, will I be getting an A on this project? I'm just wondering.
Just checking, am I doing this perfectly?
Yes, still perfect.
Okay, this is also would be a really fun couch craft too. Just like the folding is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all like super repetitive. So if you wanted to make a bunch of these, because also if you make 4 of these, then they like fit together and make a full circle, and that feels very satisfying.
Oh, sure. Yes. You were mentioning, can you tell us just a little bit as we're folding about your personal art making practice too? I mean, obviously like bookmaking and things like that is a big part of your life, but what else do you like to create?
Yeah. So like my real main thing, which I actually have taken a break from for a little bit, no good reason other than I moved,
Yep.
is textile designer. So I have a big loom and I usually do a ton of weaving.
Mm-hmm.
Main thing is anything that is, I like functional and repetitive. So shocking that we're here making a repetitive book.
And something that could be
Um,
used.
yes, that always makes me really happy. And so since I haven't been doing a lot of weaving, and part of it is I just haven't set up exactly where I want my loom to be, and I like really big chunks of time to weave, and I don't have that at the moment.
Right.
So that's where I really transitioned in like the last year of working on children's books with my brother. So my brother teaches phys ed, and he writes stories to like read and teach his students. And for a long time, he asked me to illustrate them, and I just kept saying, no, that's not what I do. And eventually I agreed. And once I kind of figured out how to make that really repetitive, and since it turns into a book, it's functional.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So I draw everything and cut them out. We're seeing some common themes in my practice. I cut them out into lots of little pieces, and then I sit and like build the illustrations with all of my little pieces. So it's like I don't know, it's been kind of like therapeutic process because it's very different from my work day.
Yeah. Like here, just for a second as you're chatting, I'll show, this is, I believe, your most recent book, right?
Yes, The Oddball is the most recent.
And so like a lot of the collage kind of elements and like the mark making components, like so fun. So I will, yeah. And so I love to just like, and I think also it's nice because coming from like two educators, you know, you're going to get a book that makes sense to read in front of kids and ones that they're going to be able to connect with and learn from. So that's really fun. And you also don't see a lot of like books for physical education as much, I feel like, or at least maybe I'm just not looking for them. That's probably part of it. But I think that's a really fun, thing too. Oh, and then of course, like the kids' reviews on the back just like warmed my heart. That was amazing.
Yes, they were so fun. And my brother has two little boys, and like the one, I don't know, he wrote like 5 or 6 reviews. And he was like so upset that there was only one on the back of the book. Like he's 6. I think he just turned 7. And so he like we read the stories and he gives us feedback of like where he gets confused, and like he acts like our little editor. So it was very sweet. And he was like, you do not have all of my reviews.
That's amazing. He's like, I'm pretty sure I'm getting paid for this. Why is this not happening?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's super fun. And it's actually where then I was like, oh, I need to make a book that has circles, because we were doing all this work on like drawing different balls.
Yeah, it was perfect. All right, so why don't you just show us how we start putting them together, because I think we're pretty close on getting all our little arrows.
Yeah, we are. All right, so this is the part that like once you get it, it'll be totally fine. But sometimes it hurts people's heads a little bit. If you fold jeans, it has that same type of feel. So you peel these 2 petals back that you just folded, and we're gonna open up, and now you're going to invert them. So you're pushing those little folds in and squishing them back down. So it looks more like maybe like a fortune cookie.
Okay. I can do this.
I like, yes, give yourself some positive reinforcement.
I feel like I'm like, okay, Sarah.
So open. And you have the 2 creases on the side. So you're going to push that crease in towards the middle.
Oh, the little creases.
Yep. And then push it back down like you're flattening it out.
So I should be making another crease now?
Nope. So.
Okay.
I love it. We got it. Okay. So you have it open.
Yes.
And in your right hand, put your index finger where you have that fold, like that splits the triangle in half.
Yep.
Okay. And then push that in and back, so it's touching the back of the other piece.
Aren't I making another fold though halfway across, or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're just coming together. Maybe magazine paper is hard for this. That part was really tricky.
Maybe. I'm like, that was a great idea, Sarah. It was really great. Thanks for taking the hit on that one. Once you feel the fold once, then it'll make sense to your hand.
Oh, I think I do get it. It like comes back together and it makes like two little things.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I also like
this thing?
Yeah.
I am still gonna pass this exam. It's gonna be good.
Once you feel it, but I really love, because I'm like hunched down so I can try and see like what you're making.
Yeah.
You know, my phone's aimed at my hand.
Right.
So this is great instructional strategy practice. I like it. I'm like, I can barely see what you're doing, but yes, you're doing a great job. Great job.
You are right though. Once you get it once, you're like, oh yeah. Okay, done.
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah. So even like if you do this with your students, it totally is, you know, as many other practices. You have to commit to like a little bit of the pain to get them through step one, or get like one kid at each table to understand it.
Yep.
Because once they get it, they will be great at it. And it really is, if you do zines, it's that same type of like, for a moment, it just feels like a hot mess.
Yeah.
But once you figure out how to push it together correctly,
Yes.
then it's like, oh, magic. Why did that seem so hard the first time?
Yeah. I thought you were just going to have us do like these little arrows and just be like, make the sides that have folds come together. Make the side. And I was like, oh, we're like so close. But there's that reverse fold just to make it so that every piece is the exact same.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Look at you just trying to skip ahead. That is like the early finisher.
I was very much like, no, listen, I know how
like,
to
why are
do
you
this,
even here, Amber?
Like, trust me, you don't need that step. That's how I do.
I don't even know why I invited you to this session. I've got it covered.
Listen,
Get out of here.
I don't need your expertise. Oh gosh, but we do all have students like that a little bit, right? Like,
oh, 100%. So I taught high school, and I had a kid who, like, just anything I said was 100% always incorrect. And at one point, he brought up this ceramics piece that he was working on. And I don't remember what he wanted. I think he wanted to like smooth it out. We were doing like coil pots. And he was very sure that it just needed a lot more water on it. And I was very sure that that was actually not true.
mm-hmm.
But I was just so tired of fighting with him.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? You do you. Like, if you think that that needs to go in the sink and you need to turn water on.
Yep. Let's go. Do it up, buddy.
Yeah. So it just had to disintegrate. And then that really changed our relationship.
Hopefully with a more like trustworthy relationship.
Yes. It really got a lot better, because I was like, I really don't recommend it, but I'm gonna let you do your thing. I'm not gonna argue with you anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like there's stuff with like 17-year-old boys that you just have to, like, all right.
Gotta just let it happen so they can figure it out. So okay, Amber, there was also a question here about what grade you would do this with. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, as I said, so like high school is my main jam.
Mm-hmm.
But I have taught all of the grades, and I feel like I normally am ambitious. I'm like, you guys can do it. So I would actually do it still probably with some pretty like young elementary kids, if I knew, like, obviously sometimes, you know, you got to know your class, know your students.
Yep.
Like if I also knew that I could kind of put them in some groups, that there would be a solid helper. I would also probably do this as like some flipped instruction. So this would be up on the screen, because otherwise it's really hard for students to see.
Yes.
So that you can go around, and because you do have to get them to feel that first fold. And once they feel that, you can really go. But it is a great thing, because they're learning tracing and cutting and folding, a lot of fun skills that they can go back to. So I would go pretty low, but as I said, sometimes when I have taught elementary students, I'm like, well, that was a little more daring than maybe I should have done. But it normally always works out. My take when I switch back and forth from elementary to high school is like, because the elementary kids are just like they're so pumped about it.
Yeah.
That they'll figure it out.
I love it. Yes, I would feel pretty confident doing this with like, you know, even down like probably 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, especially since like you can have a leader, or we always have certain projects that we do that are a little bit more like paper heavy, kind of like building heavy, that we'll do as teams, or say like nobody's moving on to the next step until everyone is this far. So like if you're done, like your only choice is to be an expert helper. So yeah. Okay, show us what comes next, because we're getting close on time here, and I want to make sure everybody has time to see it come together.
Yep. All right. We are going to glue. Woo! So you need your glue stick. I have scrap paper so I can glue. So my tip for you is you're going to open it up. And you're going to pick one of the like pie slices that is solid, that hasn't been folded in half. It doesn't have a crease down the middle.
Oh.
And that is what you're going to smear glue all over.
Okay. What's funny is all of my pie pieces have a crease, don't they?
I don't know. Open your circle.
Open.
Maybe yours do. You just went rogue, Sarah.
What did
I to do with you?
What did I literally do? Now I don't want to admit that I might.
Oh, you just made up like your own way to smush it all together, which is totally fine.
Is it wrong?
It's not like 100% right. No. So here's the thing, like your shape is totally fine.
Oh, that's so funny. I was like, after the first one, I'm like, oh, I so have this. I was confused at the beginning, and now I get it.
But you have the shape right.
Oh, okay.
So you're not getting an A anymore, but you're like getting a B+.
I think, okay, I'll take a B+. I think it was because I made up a full, yeah. Okay, well, you know what?
Yeah.
I still know what's happening. Or if I don't, I'm going to make that up too.
You problem solved and you made it work. So we're good with it. So if you're like Sarah and you're like, listen, I have folds in all of my pie slices. That is okay. You want to put the glue on the pie slice that doesn't like move in and out.
Right. The flattest.
And then the flattest one. And then you put it back together in its fun little shape. And then you pick up another one of your pieces and put them face to face. This is where you can really see if you're like a good cutter and good folder.
And a good direction folder.
Yep. And so here you can see like you right away will see it start to take form.
Yeah.
Of like I have a black page, an orange page. And you just keep going with that until you have like all of your pages piled on. So while you keep gluing, I'm going to talk a little bit about the cover.
Yes.
It's super simple, but just so that you guys all know what you have to do. So I'm going to, take my beautiful recycled box, and I'm actually taking my book pages that I already started, figuring out like where on the box I like, and then I'm going to trace my book. It's like nice and simple. And so I'll cut that out, and you need one of those triangle shapes, eye shapes, not quite a triangle, for the front and the back. So I normally cut one cover out and use that to trace my back cover. So I'm going to get those cut out, and then I'll show you how to attach it.
So for that, you said you only need like one circle tray for the last part, because you really only
you just need it's because it's staying in its like triangle.
Got it. Right. So it's just like a literal, like you could get away with a half a circle and we'd be fine.
Yes.
But am I to be trusted? I don't know, because really I've taken this.
True. I'm about to kick you off of this program and just be like.
But like, how cute did I do this wrong though?
I mean, excellently. Like, if you're gonna do it wrong like you did.
Yeah. Like
that's my pro tip for today.
I feel like these are the same.
I think they are. You just at one point like added a fold and then you abandoned it. You just.
Oh my god!
It was just because you were so much faster than me that you had to start making up extra folds
you know what? I think you hit
So
it
you're
right on the head right there. I was like, well, listen, it can't be this easy. I certainly have to make something extra complicated.
Exactly. So like the book that I sent you, Sarah, like I wrapped paper around it,
Yes.
but we're not being complicated today because that is a little bit harder for students. That's why I just picked, like you could pick cardboard that you like, or you could paint it, or you can wrap it. But basically, so if this is the first page in my book, I just have to glue the cover on it.
Yes.
Like, and if you wanted to, you can add like a ribbon or a string so you could tie the book shut. You would just stick that in between your paper and your cover.
Yes.
And so now I have my front cover on, and I would just keep adding my pages. And once I have as many pages as I want, then stick that back cover on, and you have made yourself a circle book.
That was like utter glee on my part. I was like, yes, we've done it.
We have succeeded. In this task.
I love it. I'm just using like a recycled card that just has a little bit thicker paper on the front and back just to give it a little more oomph. And I'm going to just slap it on. We're good to go.
I like finding cardboard that I can cut with my scissors.
Yes.
Like once I have to get out an X-Acto knife or something, I'm not that interested in it.
You're like, this is, this is where I got to start getting.
I can't be trusted with an X-Acto knife.
Right.
So
exactly. Oh, that was so fun, Amber. I literally do love like all of these little pages with my, in the circles, they just kind of like expose this little creative moment. So fun. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's really fun to do with like things that already have images on them because it feels like a little bit of a surprise when you open it up.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, well, I'm gonna save this chat to IGTV so that y'all can watch me make mistakes and learn from Amber. But also just try it, right? And try some like maybe big paper plate size. Maybe that's how your students make your journals next year. I don't know. Just saying, it's pretty sweet. So especially when it's something that's kind of like pops up and has this like more structural element to it, I feel like it's really exciting and it just changes it up a little bit. Good. So Amber, can you tell us where we can find you or your books or anything to sort of follow along on your adventure?
Yeah. Like what is my Instagram handle? I changed it recently. I think it's my name. I think it's
Amber L. Kane, maybe. Can someone please tell us what it is in the chat?
It used to be teacher.kane, but now I think it's just my name.
It's Amber L. Kane.
So,
yes, you're good.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So you can find me there, and basically like links to all the things, blog, books and things are there. Or you can find them on Amazon, but it's probably easier just to, now that you all know my Instagram handle, I will go learn it myself.
I appreciate everything about you. Thank you, Amber.
Yes. Thanks for letting me come hang out with all of you.
Yeah, for sure. And if anyone created art with us, even if you were just sketching or made it part the way through the project, go ahead and tag us at The Art of Ed and share on your story, #AUEU Live. And you could potentially win a chance to get a sticker, which is across from me right here. And I'll send you a sticker if y'all participated and are the lucky winner. So join us again next week. I will be on the road, so we're gonna do an on the road with just me. I'll be making something for like a more portable piece of art, although all of these things are pretty portable. But I'm on a road trip, so I'll lead you in something next Monday, and then we'll take a little tiny little midsummer break, and then we'll have more creative making after that. Amber, thank you so much. You were really great leader, and I feel like that is incredibly attainable for kids and just really fun to make. Like you just need to cut, you need to create, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm excited to see someone make a giant one.
Yeah.
So it's on my, I was going to make a giant one tonight, but then I was like, I don't know if I can make that like fit on the camera. That might be like a bold move.
Yes. Like pocket ones are easily attainable and like something that can easily be demonstrated. I'm picturing you being like, okay, everyone. And you're like trying to fold this like serving.
Yeah, I decided to like rein myself in a little bit and maybe do that in my own personal time.
I appreciate it. Nice. All right. Thank you, Amber. Have a great Monday, everyone. And thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Goodbye.